Hey, thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel, listening. Of course, I want you to subscribe. We have great content and super fun interviews. I'm going to tell you who our guest is today. Love this dude. But here's your fantastic joke. What kind of bee can't make up its mind? A maybe. Even the camera operators are like, ooh. I know, they're horrible jokes, but here's the fun part. Of course, subscribe. Of course, you want to share this with your friends. And the fun part is Robert Henderson. Yay!
Hey, it's good to be with you again.
Totally stoked. I think this is my third time to interview you.
At least,
for this channel, right?
Yeah, for this channel, absolutely.
Totally cool.
Yep.
So you moved to Colorado Springs recently.
I did.
I live in Denver, so why?
Yeah, well, we lived in the Springs. Those people live there call it the Springs.
Yeah.
We lived in the Springs from 07 to 13. And we're planning on just staying there. Because of some situations, I had to go back to Texas and begin to teach at Christ for the Nations. I taught there for a few semesters.
Yep.
But then moved back to where we came from originally, which was Waco, Texas, and replanted a church during COVID. My son, Micah, is now leading that church. Him and his wife doing a tremendous job. But then I really felt, in fact, quite honestly, I had a dream that I was supposed to be back in Colorado Springs. So talked with some people and just prayed about it. And the main thing is, my wife agreed with me.
Oh, wow.
And so we moved back to Colorado Springs about a year and a half ago, and we love it.
Yeah.
We love living here in Colorado and in this area. It's just tremendous.
Yeah, but all your kids are in Texas?
All of my, no, that's not, I was going to say yes, but no, my youngest and his wife and their little boy, Franklin, are living in Colorado Springs.
Oh.
And he is planning a church there. Right now they're about 4 weeks in, got about 45 people starting off, doing great. And so I have 3 sons that pastor churches now.
Wow.
I have 4 boys, and 3 of them are pastors of their own churches.
Goodness sakes.
So,
what's the 4th one do?
The 4th one is the oldest, and he's in the business world. He actually has been very successful in the business world. Made lots of money. I asked him, I said, did I ever tell you about tithing?
Right? That's
No,
funny.
he does well, does really, really well, him and his wife. So.
Why do your 3 boys, I mean, like all pastors, what's the attraction to that?
I don't know. One of the things I told my wife, I said, our life must not have been too bad. I said, I know they're called of God, but at the same time, there was never this big thing they had to get over of, I don't never want to be in ministry. Ministry's terrible. It's so hard. There was never any of that in our family. They actually grew up with a real respect. One of the things that Sarah that I'd watched other people and I'd watched their children have to sacrifice because mom and dad were in ministry.
Yeah.
And I said, Lord, I don't want to do that. And I literally said, I want my kids to think it was that they were privileged because I was in ministry. I said, that's what I desire. And I think we must have been able to have, done a little bit of that, because whenever God called them to do what they're doing, they didn't have a big fight with it. It wasn't something that they just struggled with to get past. They just said, yeah, well, that's what we want to do.
Interesting. And so, because you did ministry and pastoring and all that stuff, right?
Yes, I did.
And because, I'm a pastor's kid.
Absolutely.
And how did you navigate because sometimes people in churches don't always do well with the kids, pastors' kids.
That's right.
How did you work that?
I made sure that my kids knew I was their biggest advocate, that I was not going to let church people attack them and get away with it. And so I would literally say, my kids are off limits. My kids have no more requirement on them than any other child in this church.
Yep.
And so, and watch this, neither does my wife. I mean, I literally, my wife is not one that wants to be up front. She loves to be behind the scenes, all that kind of thing. And so, so she was never like a preacher or something like this.
Yeah.
But my children, I just let them know I was defending. I remember hearing a story years ago, a minister who he told this story that he was from Canada, and that he was a group of boys that threw a rock and broke a window out of the little country church they went to. Well, one of the deacons of the church grabbed him, drug him to where his father was with a group of other men, and said, "Whose kid is this?" And the preacher friend said that his father looked at the man that had a hold of him very gruffly and hard and dragged him and said, "He's mine, let him go." And my preacher said, "I never forgot that." He said, "My dad stood for me, protected me, even though I was wrong. He protected me." And that's what I tried to do with my children.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty amazing. Really amazing.
Yep.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Yeah.
So how many grandkids do you have?
I have 9. We have 9. We have 6. Now we have 6. So they have the 4 boys, but then I have 2 daughters that work for me.
Okay.
They work for me, and and all of them together we have 9 children.
That's totally
So,
cool.
9 grandchildren.
Yeah.
9 grandchildren,
and
yes.
range from the age, the oldest
The oldest is a senior in high school, so he's 17 this
Wow.
year. The youngest one is 7 months old.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah.
And majority of them are in Texas?
Yes, the youngest and his wife and their child live here, but everybody else is in Texas right now.
And how does that work for grandkids? Because I always hear that's a thing.
We make lots of trips to Texas.
Yeah.
Okay, for instance, we just went down to watch our grandson play. He's a senior, plays football. He's on the football team. Watch him play football at a big 6A school there. He plays football for this team. Watch him play football on Friday. On Saturday, we drove 2+ hours to Walker's birthday party, his second birthday party, came back that same day, drove another 3 hours to Emma's birthday party, and then drove back home and then flew out the next day.
Ooh.
But that was my wife's desire, so that's what we did.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do.
Yeah, lots of driving, lots of
driving.
travel. Any plans for any of them to move up here?
Yeah,
Maybe?
I think my grandson is actually about to graduate high school in May. He was actually lived here for 5 years of his early life, and he loves Colorado. He still remembers it. Can I tell you real quick?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody.
I like it.
But so my grandson, him and his mom lived in an apartment in Colorado Springs. And so they get out and they're walking, and there's bicycles laying on the yard, and there's 2 young men dressed in black slacks and white shirt. They're not Mormons, and they're knocking on my daughter's door.
Sure.
And so my grandson walks up and he says, "Are you Normans?" And they said yes. He says, "Is that a Norman bike?" Because he had a little friend in school that was a Mormon, and he thought their name was Norman. so that grandson is thinking about moving here when he graduates high school. He
That's
really
cool.
wants to move back here.
Yep, Colorado.
And if he does that, then my suspicion is his mother is going to move up here too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's not a bad idea.
so it's a really nice place to live.
Yeah, and you don't mind the winters.
No, in fact we like them. We actually maybe it's because of the heat of Texas, but we actually like the winters here. Because I don't travel as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So we get to sit in the house with the fireplace going.
Yep.
In our recliners.
Yep.
And we're empty nesters. So like winters, let it snow. What do we care?
Yeah. And then we don't have the bugs. And all those.
Right.
Yeah, I understand.
Absolutely.
Totally good. Are you reading anything good now?
Reading?
Reading.
Well, of course, I always try to read the Bible. But I don't know about you, but one of the things, I spend so much time taping.
Yeah.
And I spend so much time, more and more. After COVID hit, I really quit traveling, and because we went much more toward media.
Yeah.
But now it's like or quite a few are wanting me to come.
Yeah.
So I'm having to make decisions. So so my time gets really taken up. I'm like, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what I need to be doing and when I need to be doing it. So my answer would be, at this very moment, I'm not reading. In fact, but I will tell you the thing, I'm a history guy.
Yeah.
So when I'm on a plane, I've got a book on my
Kindle thing.
yeah, and it is, I'm trying to remember the title of it. It's about a young man. It's written by him, about a young man that was taken captive by the Native Americans, the Indians down in Texas, back in the 1800s.
Yep.
And he grew up as a Native American, as an Indian tribe, and it is a real life account of everything that he went through.
That sounds cool.
And so I like that kind of stuff because I like history.
Yep.
And so I'm reading all of this and just kind of meditating, thinking, wow, here's what it makes me realize what sissies we are.
Right. Right.
This guy went through crazy stuff as a young boy, growing into a teenager, into a man, and I'm like, the treatment he went through initially, but then the life that they were forced to live is like, oh my gosh, and I'm upset because the traffic's all stopped on 25.
No, I get it. To that end, I finished a book a little while ago. It was about, and it's historical as well, and it's about the whalers out of Nantucket.
Yes,
that went and did whaling sperm whales so that they could get the oil and all that stuff. So they would sail around the bottom of South America and then come, because the whales they had to get on the Pacific Ocean. And there's this, they ran into this whale, this sperm whale, that was like the Goliath of all. And they had whaling boats, and this sperm whale was like so massive, and the sperm whale rammed their boat, and it was bizarre. Like, they don't do that.
They don't do that.
No. And so all the sailors are like, oh my gosh. And the dude who's telling the story is, like 16 or something, and he's, a deckhand. So he has to be up in the rigging and all this stuff.
Wow.
So the sperm whale rams the boat, and then so they're like, oh my gosh, that's freaky. The sperm whale goes way, way out, and then gears up again, and that was like practice for the real ramming.
Oh my gosh.
The sperm whale rams the boat the second time and completely decimates the boat, and it starts to sink. So now everybody's like scrambling to save, and all the lifeboats and all this stuff. And so I read that, and that was really, to your point. And so everybody died, and then there was cannibalism. There's only like 4 people that left that survived.
Oh my goodness. So this is a true story.
Oh, yeah. And Moby Dick, the novel, Herman Melville. I don't really like him, but that book is written off of this account.
Yes.
So, if you want to borrow that, I might let you borrow it, maybe.
Wow.
I know, you're like, woof.
Yep.
We took a very far turn. All right. Thank you so much for watching, listening, subscribing. Hit the notification bell right there. We'll keep you posted on new content. And let me ask you this question. What's your favorite part of history? Ooh. Put that in the comments. What's your favorite part of history? You're like, I don't like history at all. Well, maybe like recent stuff. That's called history as well. Or maybe you like something way back. Just what do you like about history? Thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time.